Breaking today, popularity ratings for Meghan Markle in her home country of America are absolutely damning. Newsweek, formerly an ally of the Sussexes, has revealed that not only are visits to the as ever, or was never, as Lady Colin Campbell calls it, website down, 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 so too is her overall popularity in America, which means this whole mission has been a disaster. We're going to get into these figures and do a deep dive with royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz imminently. But before that, I just want to explain why this means People magazine is now becoming the official propaganda outfit for Harry and Meghan to quite a ludicrous extent. Like, the most recent headline says Meghan Markle's coastal kitchen has us eyeing rustic cake stands, floral plates, and more charming finds from $9. Now, can we just be honest about it? Because everyone knows their kitchen is gross, right? Like, I mean, I'm not a big kitchen guy, but there's a reason why Meghan never uses their own kitchen for her TV show or her photo shoots, because it's dark, it's dingy, it's dated, and apparently it's the laughingstock of the Montecito locals. So for People magazine to say that actually people are wanting these floating wooden shelves, copper cookware, and bamboo spoons was a new low. And Queen Esther has been doing some amazing work on this, and I want to take you through it. She asked this question: when did People magazine become Meghan Markle's spokesperson? Then she's done some great work, and we'll have a look at it, proving, and there are hundreds. So let's start running through them because it's ludicrous, but proving that they do now operate as a propaganda arm for the couple. She argued, People magazine has published an astonishing volume of Meghan Markle articles just in 2026 alone. Not major interviews, not award wins, not blockbuster projects, not cultural moments that actually dominated headlines. Instead, readers get a relentless cycle of product launches, Instagram recaps, outfit breakdowns, sweet family nods, vacation glimpses, and glowing lifestyle features. Month after month, the same stories recycled in slightly different packaging. The formula never changes. Meghan Markle, the devoted mother. Meghan, the loving wife. Meghan, the visionary entrepreneur. Meghan, the misunderstood figure. Meghan, the resilient success story. Different headline, identical narrative. After well over 100 articles in 2026 alone, and we're running through them all, can you see this? Built around the same themes and the same flattering framing, the question is whether they're functioning as journalists or as her personal mouthpiece. Don't miss a single update on the stories that actually matter. I'm breaking down the news every day, so make sure you subscribe to never miss a beat. Click that subscribe button right now. If the goal is to churn out endless celebrity fluff pieces with no pushback, context, scrutiny, or balance, then call it what it is: a celebrity image management platform disguised as reporting. People magazine has devolved into a captive mouthpiece for Meghan Markle's image rehabilitation machine. The archive speaks for itself. And we're just seeing all of these headlines, and I thank Queen Esther for that incredible research. And I noted one earlier this week too. Look at this. Meghan Markle hiked in the podiatrist-approved sneakers shoppers say feel comfortable. Now, she wore this once. She wore these sneakers once in Australia. Royally Sage pointed out Rachel is reduced to being an influencer. That is an embarrassing drop from being a working royal. So, Tash, what we have to start doing here is questioning, where are the financial links, firstly? Why are People magazine promoting Meghan Markle's shoes? Like, are they both potentially making money from this? That's my first question. Secondly, in regards to Queen Esther's question, I think we can be very clear. People magazine is no longer a journalistic enterprise. It has devolved into a captive mouthpiece for Meghan Markle's image rehabilitation machine. And I'm not saying it should be ignored, because you know I don't believe, Tash, in ignoring reporting. But I think anytime we look at these reports or these cover stories from People magazine, what we just have to understand is that this is coming directly from Harry and Meghan. Sometimes Prince Harry is actually emailing this publication direct, and we take it as that. It's not independent reporting. It's not what you do. It's not what I do. It is what I would describe as a modern day propaganda machine for Harry and Meghan.
I have a theory on this, and I can't imagine they're the only famous people that seem to have this, ridiculous number of articles written about them. People magazine isn't what it was. It used to be a really good magazine that I used to read myself many, many years ago, but it seems to have devolved, and it's become just a typical, I would say sometimes, predominantly, a gossip rag, really. But it's not just made up stuff. The people that are like Harry and Meghan are talking directly to them. This is sources close to Harry and Meghan, which, Harry and Meghan's team. And I can't help but feel it's like when people buy a bumper pack of advertising. You want the billboard package that includes a magazine and a certain number of articles. You pay X amount of money, the VIP, the gold package, the bronze package. And I feel like perhaps People magazine is now operating on that sort of thing, that Harry and Meghan operate on PR. They need to get stories out there to tell the world that they're doing great, even though everything is quite clearly and obviously crumbling down around them. And the fact that People magazine ignores the actual truth and the evidence that is out there to show that Harry and Meghan are not doing great across any areas, but they continue this manufactured pumping out of these articles. It's like they bought the gold package and they're going to continue to keep pumping it out. And you see it sometimes as well, where people have picked up on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, but where certain magazine outlets will recycle the same article. It's they're different publications, but it's exactly the same. Sometimes perhaps changing the picture, and it's the same thing that is just being pumped out day after day after day. And I do think it's like you can just buy these marketing packages, because how can they have anyone there that actually does any reporting and not really focus on the terrible things that have gone on with African parks and Harry still promoting them? How can they not talk about the fact that Harry is being sued by Centre Barley, but instead Harry and Meghan's life is great. Harry and Meghan's life is amazing. They know that kitchen that Meghan is posing in is not her kitchen. They know it was a hired house, yet they're still that article saying, oh, look at Meghan, everybody's so jealous of her coastal kitchen. That's not her kitchen. You know it's not her kitchen, but you're still pumping that out there. All of these very real things that are going on with Harry and Meghan, showing again African parks. That one has, absolutely horrific. Centre Barley, even the noise to do with Invictus, everything seems to be ignored, and they just keep pumping out this manufactured nonsense. Like you said, it is just pure Sussex propaganda, and they are ignoring the truth that everybody can see.
Well, 100%, because then, Tash, we come to these new figures, which show that this is not a popular thing to do in America. Like in the past, People magazine may have been able to say, oh, well, actually, the Brits don't like Meghan, but we have an audience that does like Meghan. Well, not if you look at the new figures that Jack Royston has revealed in Newsweek. And again, Tash, this is really interesting because Newsweek used to be a propaganda outfit for Harry and Meghan. I think Jack Royston, I used to work with the guy.
Royston, he was all positive.
Oh, yeah.
He was like definitely on the payroll at one point.
Absolutely. And I used to work with him at The Sun. It was interesting because he didn't really have any experience in the royal domain. So I sort of thought, well, he's just gone all in on Harry and Meghan. But again, what he's had to do, and I don't blame him for this, is recalibrate, look at the fact that actually, well, I can't keep running these positive stories because I'm going to become a laughing stock. So now he's a bit more balanced. And what he has done here, and he says that it's because he wants empirical evidence, and I give him credit for that, is he has crunched the numbers and worked out that it's not only the was never business that is crashing, it links directly with the crash in Meghan's US popularity. And I give him credit for this work because it's very helpful, Tash. So I just want to run through it and then we will analyze. So he revealed Meghan Markle's popularity among Americans fell in the first 3 months of 2026 at the same time as visits to her as ever online shop also dipped, and that's according to polling and web traffic data examined by Newsweek. No official sales figures have been released, prompting debate about the health of her business. However, Newsweek has been using web traffic data to try and lend empirical evidence to questions about the business's performance. Good stuff. There appears to have been a decline in her US popularity at broadly the same time as a significant drop in US visitors to her website. Correlation does not imply causation, and the overlap may be coincidental. And I understand why he's put that in, but let's be honest, it's not. However, if the trend persists, it is likely to draw attention from Meghan's team as they plan their future marketing strategy. So this is Q1 2026. Meghan was liked by 29% and disliked by 27% of respondents in a poll of around 1,300 Americans conducted by YouGov over the first 3 months of 2026, giving her a net rating of +2. The methodology, based on YouGov's rolling rating system, differs from traditional polling in that responses are collected continuously throughout the year and presented in quarterly data sets, providing a more stable measure of sentiment. These figures represent a sharp drop from the third quarter of 2025, when Meghan was liked by 37% and disliked by 22% of respondents, giving her a net approval rating of +15. That equates to a 13-point decline over 2 quarters. Now, I just have to tell you, I've been a bit of a sort of student of these YouGov rolling figures over the years, because especially in my previous life and my current life, actually, when you're looking at politicians, it's very important because it tracks the rolling sentiment of how people feel about celebrities or politicians or big names. A drop like that is huge and quick. Like, usually you'll tend to see like maybe up a couple of points, down a couple of points, depending on people, say, have had a big movie out or if they've been involved in a big story. But a 13-point decline over 2 quarters. Trust me, this is what like a PR expert would say required a reputational crisis management intervention. The problem is, I think that's been tried so often by Meghan. Then we come to the web traffic, which correlates. So Royston writes, traffic on Meghan's As Ever website appears to have slowed over the same 3-month period as measured by SimilarWeb. In December, Meghan recorded around 246,000 visitors to the site, of which 108,000 were from the US. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Because she's only selling to the US. So it means she's getting well over 100,000 visits that actually are irrelevant to her business proposition. It might be people like me who are looking a bit nosily and saying, oh, ha, 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 isn't that funny, this latest message or whatever. But they're not buying products. So really, it's only that 108,000 that matter for her in terms of her finances. In January, her total number of visits rose to 268,000. But, and this is a huge but, US visits fell to 89,000, indicating that the US traffic declined despite an overall increase in visits. And Meghan, I repeat, is only selling to America, which means that her sort of customer base has actually dipped to 89,000. Remember, the vast majority of those people will not be buying anything. The US is currently the only country she shops to, making the geographic breakdown particularly significant. Meghan has said she plans to take her business global, but has not launched internationally yet. In February, gosh, this gets so much worse, guys. Traffic fell to 213,000 visits internationally, including about 83,500 from the US. So again, the market is just getting smaller and smaller. It recovered slightly in March, 226,000, 94,000 in the US, still under that 100,000 number though. But again, April was disastrous. It tanked. 178,000 overall, but just 61,500 in the US. Now, remember, if you look at the start of the year, she was at 108,000. That's almost a halving of her internet traffic in the US, which is where she is selling to. And Royston analyzes that this suggests a broad overlap between Meghan's declining US popularity and the fall in US site visits from 108,000 in December to 61,500 in April. Now, Tash, I know some people who like struggle with numbers, and I'm not great with numbers in some ways. We say, oh, all of these figures, what do they mean? But actually, this is really fascinating because it's like massive dip in US popularity, massive dip in US website traffic, all at the same time, virtually halving, which means,
Yeah.
Tash, if you look at it, and of course we don't have these numbers, but I would just guesstimate that probably she's also lost around half of her sales too. And it's not like she was starting
Yeah.
at a high base. So this really is a crisis now.
It is a total, unmitigated crisis in Montecito. If you thought the Sussexes were thriving in America, the absolute hammer has just dropped, and the actual data proves their entire commercial empire is in freefall. Historically, one of Harry and Meghan's biggest mainstream media allies has officially broken ranks. They have crunched the hard numbers, and the empirical evidence is devastating. Meghan's popularity in the United States has completely plummeted, and her lifestyle brand traffic has practically halved. While the actual data shows things are crumbling, Meghan's team has gone into overdrive, turning mainstream outlets into what can only be described as a captive propaganda machine. We're talking about over 100 fluff pieces cooked up just to convince you that the public is desperate for her lifestyle. But the public isn't buying it, literally. Let's start with the bizarre media strategy. A brilliant deep dive by royal researchers has exposed that People magazine has devolved into an outright image rehabilitation platform for Meghan Markle. We're not seeing articles about major blockbuster projects, charitable milestones, or cultural awards. Instead, readers are being choked with a relentless cycle of outfit breakdowns, product launches, and glowing lifestyle features. More than 100 articles already this year. Take the recent viral headline praising Meghan's coastal kitchen and urging shoppers to buy rustic cake stands and bamboo spoons. Locals in Montecito are openly laughing because everybody knows that dingy, dated kitchen isn't even hers. It was a hired house for a shoot. They are recycling the exact same flattering narratives week after week. The question has to be asked, where are the financial links? When a major outlet operates as a personal PR shield with zero journalistic scrutiny or balance, it's not reporting anymore, it's a modern-day propaganda machine. But here is why the PR machine is working overtime. The real numbers are terrifying for Team Sussex. Newsweek's chief royal correspondent Jack Royston, a journalist who used to run almost exclusively positive angles for the couple, has had to completely recalibrate to save his own reputation. He crunched the rolling YouGov data for the first quarter of this year, and the results are a reputational nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it, that at the time in when Netflix drops her, Netflix no longer invests in As Ever as well, which has also, I think, impacted all of it. I mean, her one big name that was actually, well, her only partner in this walked away before the year's anniversary was up. So that, of course, definitely damaged it. And the outside traffic, yeah, it's people like myself. It's people on social media going to have a look at what videos she's dropped to see what silliness she's done now. Is she stroking herself? Is she eyeing up, a fictional man in the background as she slaps some sauce into a jar? I mean, she's become rather comical. And maybe that's why she does the stuff that she does, because she thinks, oh, well, it increased traffic, but it's not increasing sales. The majority of the traffic comes from obviously outside the US, and that's no good to her because she only ships in the US. Her popularity has been in freefall because everybody knew that it would happen. There were so many people that predicted it, and they're right. Meghan oversaturated us. She was everywhere. It was every week. It was magazine interviews. It was As Ever. It was Netflix. It was specials. It was appearances and pap strolls. Then, of course, we had, the disaster tourism. It has been relentless. And then for them to also, which I think has definitely damaged them, for them to suddenly flip back round and trying to be taken seriously as royals again has backfired on epic proportions, because they have then lost another chunk of their remaining fan base, the ones that supported them through thick and thin, because they were like, yes, everything you had to endure growing up in the royal family, everything Meghan had to endure because of the horrible, wicked royal family. And then obviously Harry and Meghan are like, we want to be treated like royals again. We would like to be, allowed back in. We want the king to come to the Invictus Games. We want the royal family to be supporting us again. And that has made, I think, even the few remaining people that still had the wool pulled over their eyes go, well, hang on a minute, you've done everything you can to try and destroy the very institute. And now that everything that you tried to make a success has exploded. It's fallen apart. You failed at everything. You've burnt every single bridge. Now you're trying to sniff back round the royal family. People have lost interest in them. They've lost respect in them. I mean, the crowds that she drew from, you know, going over to Geneva to be taken seriously, talking about child online safety. And I mean, for in the same 12-hour span, posts another picture of her daughter in pajamas, looking like she's shining her shoes, like Orphan Annie and Miss Hannigan. I mean, the woman is literally hitting self-destruct on everything. And again, like we said earlier, you know, even the promoting and rewarding the trolls. Meghan and Harry have really been the masters of their own demise, and seeing these figures in real time, it is incredibly damaging, because it's showing that everything is gone. They've pretty much hanging on tooth and nail to everything now. And I'd be very surprised if As Ever's got another 18 months in it, in all honesty.
I know. That's the thing.
No.
I
I can't see anyone's going to even want to try and buy it off of her, which I think is what she's desperately trying to do. She's trying to make it look like, look, I've sold over 1 million jars of jam. Look at all of the traffic. Look at all of these people. I think she's probably out there trying to scope around for some poor schmuck to try and buy it off of her. You know, like she sees these deals with other people, like Justin Bieber's wife. You know, she sold her makeup collection for millions, if not, you know, closer to 1 billion. But there's nothing As Ever. Who the hell would want to buy that shit?
And the issue that she's really got is that, so she has obviously decided, well, I need to go down the beauty path. I need to go down the fashion path, which she first rejected, right? Yeah. But Tash, what is going to be really difficult from a branding point of view, and this really matters, especially as you say, if you're trying to prepare a business to be sold, is like, does she launch that under As Ever, which is already a failed brand? Any branding expert would tell you no. But then the problem is she ends up competing with herself, because she has one brand that's failing while trying to launch another brand. And
that's
look at how difficult this was for Victoria Beckham for years and years and years. And her brand was actually considered successful in the fashion world in terms of what it did. And yet it still took years and years and years of David Beckham pumping in millions and millions. And Harry can't afford to keep pumping in the millions and millions, because they're going through the inheritance money.
They don't bring in an income. They've got no career. They've got no big deals. They've got no big contracts. They've got nothing left to bring in the big bucks. And the Beckhams are the perfect example. Victoria and David invested a hell of a lot of money to bail out, you know, Victoria Beckham as a brand for years and years, and it's eventually paid off. But I mean, millions got poured into that. And Harry and Meghan do not have that sort of money. They do not have that sort of likability. They have got no talent between them. They've got no job. What, Harry being the chimpo at Better Up, he's hardly going to be raking in the millions. He can't even fill, what was it, like 150 bottoms on seats over in Australia. Meghan couldn't even get, you know, that venue sold out. And this is something that people, like, for her fan base, you think would be crawling over themselves to go see Meghan speak at that retreat, and they couldn't even get people to fill up a few spaces. Then it does seem to be that it is coming towards the end of their grifts, and they have not got many options left. None of the other streaming services, after Netflix, you know, made them free, seem to be interested in coming in and swooping them up in a contract. You've not heard anything from like Disney, Paramount, you know, and Amazon. Nope. Amazon, there's no chance. I think now that she's really upset Sanchez. But yeah, I am struggling to see how they're going to continue to bring in the sort of money to have the lifestyle that they quite clearly want. It's certainly not going to be coming from Charles's back pocket.
No, indeed. And yeah, it is so interesting, as you say, Tash, when you're comparing that Beckham example, because the thing about the Beckham example is that there was never a trouble with the brand. Actually, people liked the Victoria Beckham brand, but it was a financial black hole. Now, with Meghan Markle, she's decided not to use her name as the brand, but people hate the Was Never brand. So it's very, very difficult. And of course, what she probably should do is shutter As Never. It should just go As Ever. Sorry, Was Never, as Lady C calls it. It should just go. It should just be shuttered. It should just be consigned to the to the trash heap. She should give away, Tash, the millions of cans of jam, what do you call tins of jams? She should give them away to worthy causes. Seriously, she should send them to Africa. She should just, she should take the financial hit.
Africa has been through enough, Dan. They've been through enough.
They don't want that runny spread.
They don't want that.
In the third quarter of last year, Meghan enjoyed a net approval rating in America of +15. But by the first quarter of this year, that number crashed down to a measly +2. That is a massive 13-point decline in just 2 quarters. In the world of public relations and politics, a drop that sharp and that fast is considered a code red crisis. It proves the American public has officially reached peak saturation and is completely turning off. And if you think the popularity drop is bad, look at how it correlates directly to her checkbook. Newsweek examined the web traffic data for Meghan's lifestyle site, and it is a financial black hole. Because she only ships to the United States, U.S. visitors are the only metric that actually keeps the lights on. In December, the site pulled in 108,000 American visitors. By February, it dropped to 83,000. And by April, it completely cratered to just 61,500. That is nearly a halving of her customer base in just 4 months. Without Netflix backing her lifestyle brand extensions anymore, this venture is bleeding out. Branding experts will tell you that when the public actively dislikes the core brand name, you can't just pivot to beauty or fashion. You're competing with your own failure. Unlike the Beckhams, who had the wealth and global likability to pump millions into bailing out Victoria's fashion line for years until it turned a profit, Harry and Meghan simply don't have the cash reserves or the public goodwill to survive a multi-million-dollar bleed. The grift is officially hitting a brick wall. They've burnt their bridges with the royal family, oversaturated the American media, and now the empirical data proves the public has completely lost interest. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Meghan should completely shutter the business before it bankrupts them, or is there any way for her to salvage her reputation in America? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe to stay updated with the unfiltered truth.